episode of Jamin's Daily. Appreciate you folks joining us. Today, we have James Rivera as our guest, and we're going to move along with our topics, what's on the interwebs, what's exciting. So I hope we got some good topics for you today. We're going to start off with the woman who was dragged off a beach because she's not wearing enough clothes. James, how you doing today? Tell everybody at home how you doing.
How you doing? Good, doing good. Thank you for having me on your show, Jamin. Yeah, man, I saw that link on about that, and it kind of just it baffles me as to why it's an issue now all of a sudden. You know, I mean, if that's been a law that has been placed, you know, people I'm sure have been doing that for the longest time. You know, so why particularly now?
I watched the video. I saw it on Entertainment Tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They showed a whole segment on it, and they talked to the lady. She was like some type of gymnastic performer, you know, Circus Soleil, something like that. So she's got a great body.
Right.
She goes,
fit,
very fit. Mm-hmm. And these cheeky, I think they call them these cheeky these cheeky bikinis are in style now. You know, showing a lot of booty. And so this woman is wearing a thong.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember during maybe the 4th of July here in Corpus Christi, or maybe it was Memorial Day. It wasn't 4th of July. Maybe it was Memorial Day. We went to the beach, and there were some, and it was appropriate. You know, anybody can wear whatever they want, right? But the ones that I saw, it was appropriate. You got to have certain confidence to wear or to rock it, right?
Absolutely.
And so obviously this lady is wearing it. She's, it's not offensive, but there's some Karen next to her who maybe has a 13-year-old son who can't take his eyes away, and it bothers them.
Well, so then that goes back to, I mean, if you look at Europe, I mean, they have topless, or all nude beaches, things like that. We don't have that here in the US, but if you teach the kids, hey, I mean, that's just a body part, it doesn't necessarily have to always be sexualized. It won't be a big deal, So then it goes back to, these parents want everybody else to change, but they don't want to change their parenting styles. You know what I mean? It's like, if you just tell them, hey, dude, like, it's just normal. That's just a butt, So like, you don't have to worry about it, no big deal.
I agree. I don't know if my boys are still too young. Right. But if I would like to think that in that case, there's some lady next to me who's wearing some kind of very revealing bikini, it wouldn't be an issue. But, women, it's never going to be an issue for a man. I'm going to go ahead and just say that most likely, right? It's always going to be the issue from one woman to the next, because there was also something in the news about some lady talking. This was another situation, not at a beach, but maybe just somewhere else, where some lady was wearing a bikini, and she filmed some woman approaching her, upset about it. Like, hey, you should cover up. This is like a family pool.
Sure.
And you're here over here in a thong bikini, and it's kind of awkward. It's not that it's right or wrong. It's just kind of, it's kind of awkward because, we got a bunch of 40-year-olds with 40-year-old bodies, know, and then here comes this 25-year-old with this Instagram model.
Right. And so then I kind of, you switch the genders now. If it were a male in a Speedo or a thong, and he was fit and endowed or whatever, would the woman call and complain about the man? So where are your, what are you really mad about? Are you more so mad about your physical appearance and you don't like, seeing it on someone else, or what? What's the problem?
Well, the lady who was being detained, because she wasn't arrested, she was being detained, and it was crazy because the officers actually pulled out like the manual with the laws.
And they're just walking around with a binder and the laws?
Yeah, they had a binder probably in the car, so they go and get it, and they're like, look, right here, and it says about being naked on the beach. And so the lady, that's why they had to let her go, because I guess technically, if you're wearing a thong bikini, or under, the bottom part, you're technically not naked.
Well, right. So define what's being naked. Is it, showing a side portion of a body part? Is it full exposure?
It's got to be full, because they let her go. So it's got to be just
yeah. I'm sure
you're out in the buff, not wearing anything.
Yeah, just letting it all hang out.
Well, moving along, James. I'm glad I know your where you stand on this, because next time we get together in the pool, I'm gonna wear a
Yeah.
banana hammock.
Rock
All
out that
right,
Speedo, man. I
I'm
won't
gonna
say
rock a
nothing. Don't
speedo,
worry.
and you better not say anything.
I
Okay.
promise.
All right. All right. Hey, have you heard of this? Moving along, folks at home, to our next topic. There's a thing I've heard of, James, that, on these dating apps or even on Facebook, any social media where people are trying to talk to other people, get to know other people, or put some type of present themselves in some type of way. And people have heard of this term called catfishing, right? Where you get, if you get catfished, it's because somebody was lying to you online, pretending to be something they're not.
Right.
Is that right?
That's what I understand.
Right. That's what we understand. And there was even
Yeah.
like an MTV TV show
A little
about
show
it.
about that. Yeah.
And remember that football player, Willie
Yeah,
Manti Teo?
Teo. Yeah.
Teo, he had got catfished for some girlfriend that he never knew or
Yeah,
had met.
crazy.
But now there's a new type of fishing. Okay. It's called woke fishing. Okay. Woke fishing. So for the folks at home, I'm going to describe, or most people know what woke. For a long time, I didn't know what woke meant. James, you've heard of woke. You know what it means to be woke?
Well, I think I know because everybody seems to be woke all of a sudden. So I don't know how many people were asleep before then. So.
Right. Everyone's woken up. Everyone's awakened.
Right.
So to be woke is to be, in tune with everything, the changes, the social changes, and all these other deals. The being, I don't want to say politically correct, but that's kind of the term that most people kind of know. So you do your best to be not just politically correct, but to be informed and to be polite, etc. And so this woke fishing that's going on, folks at home. So beware. What's going on is people on these dating sites are presenting themselves as woke. So I'm woke. Black Lives Matter. There's no such thing as gender. All these different things that being woke is about. Good for them. But they're lying. It's not true. And they're trying to get, I guess they're trying to hook up with a girl or a boy who is woke. They notice that they're woke because they're following their social media, and they wouldn't have a chance if they said, hey, you know what? I'm going to vote for Trump. Or, you know what? They say something like that, then they're not going to get a date. So they got to pretend to be woke. And this is a new thing. It's called woke fishing.
Well, Jamin, let me ask you this. Isn't that what dating is in general? Aren't you lying just to kind of, get the first couple of meetings and then, slowly start showing your true self? I guess that's just what I've experienced in the last few years as far as my dating has been
It
concerned.
should be, yeah. Everything is fishing. It's what you can put
Right.
any kind of adjective or noun in front of it. Whatever word you want to put in
Exactly.
front of the fishing, that's what's going on.
You're still fishing.
Yeah,
I
it's fishing,
mean,
whether it's woke or cat.
yeah.
Well,
Trout or whatever.
this article on the interwebs says, so for folks at home, we're going to kind of describe this to you. It says a woke fish may at first present themselves as a protest attending, sex positive, anti-racist, intersectional feminist who drinks ethically sourced oat milk and has read the back catalog of, I don't know, some author 2 times. But in reality, they don't give a crap.
Yeah, that seems very, very specific. You're very limited to your to your audience there on trying to be a woke fishing. But yeah, I mean, I think people are starting to label anything and everything now. But that's dating. You know what I mean?
About the labels.
I mean, everything has to have a specific label and subcategorized and further subcategorized. Let's just call it what it is. That's dating, man. I mean,
but you mentioned it because even the article says that the longer you get to know somebody, obviously you're going to learn their true colors.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess if you're on Tinder, this is more of a Tinder application or a technique. Yeah. I think woke fishing would work on Tinder because these people are just trying to hook up and they're just trying to get together. And so you can keep up the facade for a night or two or a couple of dates,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You scrub your social media, all the memes, all the MAGA memes that you have up,
Right.
get rid of them, right? Because you're
Right,
trying to hook up
right.
with this good looking girl who's a feminist studies
Or
college student.
BLM and things like Black Lives Matter type stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm sure there's some what's the word? There's some nice looking ladies in these groups, right? And so you sometimes you have to fake it until you make it.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, like I said, that's just the same thing with buying a fancy car, leasing a fancy car for a date, or take going out on a really nice restaurant when you're broke,
Yeah.
type of deal. You're still faking it till you make it.
Right? No, I think I'm trying to recall all the times I was fishing, and I can't think. I'm trying to think of the term to put in front of it. But the fake it till you make it. But moving along, we actually kind of talked about this before we got on our the podcast today, folks at home. Divorce. It's a sad topic, but people nowadays throw divorce parties for themselves,
Yeah.
which is so I'm always looking for a reason to party. But more specifically, people, because all kinds of people get divorced. Jay Cutler and Kristen Cavallari on the internet, it says something about them, so it's got to be true. They're getting divorced, and Kristen Cavallari put an Instagram post with her and her new her beau, and Jay Cutler soon after deleted his Instagram. So I'm thinking that's kind of cold blooded of Kristen Cavallari, but I don't know. Who am I to judge? What do you think, James?
I always try to like to play devil's advocate in those situations. Who's to say they were or were not happy for a long time, and she's finally finding happiness. And one person's always going to be more jaded than the other anytime you split up, or divorce, or general relationship wise or anything like that. I think in their instance they have a couple of kids. Am I wrong?
They do. I think they have
Okay.
maybe as many as 3.
Right. So as long as they can come to an agreement to do what's best for the children, regardless of what's going on, outside of the, you should still be able to have a life. But then too, she needs to be a little bit more cognizant of his feelings and not blast, who she's out with, or let's just have a little bit more respect for that relationship by maybe not putting it out in public like that.
Well, and that's what this Kristen Cavallari is. That's her thing, is
Right.
social media. And we all know she's been on TV show and stuff, but part of their fame is the constant social media posts.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't convince me otherwise that this wasn't a very calculated, this wasn't a spur of the moment. Hey, I went to have dinner with this buddy of mine who we're trying to talk to, going on a date. Like you said, hey, people move on, and she's having fun and they just take a photo.
Yeah.
No. For Kristen Cavallari, I feel as though, because look, now we're talking about it on Jamin's Daily podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's on the internet all over the place.
Do you think that's in response to him not wanting to pay her the money she wanted from the divorce? Because my understanding of a few months ago now that she had requested X amount of money, and he said absolutely not. So do you think that's maybe a little spiteful response to that?
For sure.
Yeah.
Anybody would respond that way. I think he cut her off. She wanted him to buy her a house.
Right.
And it was like $2.8 million or something like that. It was the house he wanted. She's like, okay, we're going to get divorced, but I need a house because I've been living in your mansion that you paid for. So now I need my old mansion that you still need to pay for. And Jay Cutler's got all kinds of money, but he's no dummy. He went to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sure if it takes getting having to look at some Instagram photos of your ex-wife and some dude, if that's what it takes in order to save millions of dollars, then I'm sure he's willing to swallow some pride.
Right.
She's like, listen, if you don't buy me a mansion, I'm gonna put up photos of me and some dude.
Yeah, he's got a lot of willpower, that's for sure.
And when she had a show on the E channel, and Jay Cutler was the best part of the show. It's not like I watched it a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
from the things on the internet, the clickbait that I would read, everybody was like, Jay Cutler's hilarious on this show.
Yeah.
But then
So she
sometimes
kind of he kind of outshined her, and that was supposed to be her thing, right? You know, she was supposed to be the face of reality TV, and he comes in and already outshined her. So
yes,
yeah, she's pretty spiteful.
but she was alleging that he was trying to hook up with her friend, but then the
Mm,
friend denies it. So that could be some of the bad blood going on.
maybe, yeah.
Speaking of bad blood and lots of money at stake, Dr. Dre. You hear about this?
Yeah,
We could do a whole podcast about
just
celebrities
that alone,
divorcing.
right?
Okay, because the celebrities are always divorcing.
Right.
So now Dr. Dre is divorcing. And the thing about Dr. Dre is nobody knows who his wife is. Nowadays when you're a celebrity, now like you're celebrity, your wife wants to be a celebrity too, even though she doesn't do anything. Like ballers, football players, or basketball players. There's these Instagram models who have fame because of who they were dating. Like remember that Amber Rose?
Mm-hmm.
She got
Mm-hmm.
famous because she was dating Kanye West.
Right.
And there's a dozen more examples.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Dre, most people probably figured he was married, but he's been married to the same woman for a long time. And now she's fighting the prenuptial agreement. She wants $1 billion.
Wow. $1 billion, not a million, $1 billion.
It says here on TMZ, they're the arbiters of truth. They're at TMZ.
Yeah.
All right. Dr. Dre's wife is not getting divorced without a fight because she's challenging their prenup, and $1 billion is on the line. They've been married. They have a prenup that dates back to 1996. So 24 years
Right.
they were married. And they have a prenup, but I'm looking at photos. The good thing is when we edit this, I'll be able to put the photo here
Yeah.
so you'd be able to see everything,
There
folks
you
at
go.
home. I'd never seen anything about this lady other than now.
And she wants $1 billion. Now, I guess in her argument would be, did she directly contribute to his success in some way, as far as maybe a partner in the business, or help promote, found talent for his label, things like that. If she was just the trophy, the accessory, so to speak, to carry around, and wants $1 billion, I mean, I get it, and this is and like you said, we can do a whole podcast on divorces and that settlements like that too. But then Blake Griffin has to pay, I think, what, $250,000 a month
And
for child
spousal,
support.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, see, because in California, at least a lot of times these celebrities, they're in California. So
yeah,
here's Dr. Dre in California. They're very, it's a state that's very has spousal support. Is very pro. I want to say more on the white the woman's side,
mm-hmm,
but in this situation, her argument is that since they've been married since 1996,
mm-hmm.
yeah, he's been famous and rich for a long time, but there's a difference between being kind of rich and then being a billionaire. And so what
Right,
he's
right.
alleging is that the majority of his wealth was amassed while they were married.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's probably trying to give her the amount of money he had in 1996, which
Right.
may be like a couple $1,000,000. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not going to go for that. She wants 100 million.
Right.
Which if he was smart,
What?
he should just write the check.
Right, right. Well, and I think in areas like that, there should be maybe some sort of cost of living multiplier, right? A certain percentage in this certain area you need to survive, or live a certain lifestyle. And obviously she was used to extravagant lifestyle, and but it was because her husband earned the money to give her that.
Well, did you hear
Um,
this? Robert De Niro, he's also going through a
oh,
divorce. And I read on the interwebs that he was petitioning the court because he was trying to cut down his spousal support. So, as part of his prenup and stuff, and he was trying to allege that, get this, his lawyers were saying that because of COVID and all this stuff, that he was only going to make $7 million this year. Okay. And in his prenup, it had said that as long as he makes $15 million or more, he had to pay X amount of spousal support. Well, now he's saying he's going to make less this year. So they're trying to change it. His soon to be ex-wife, that spousal support was $50,000 a month on a credit card. So she just had this revolving line of credit of 50 grand to just pay all her bills, do whatever she wants. In addition to, I'm sure she probably, when they're getting divorced, she's probably going to get a house. She's going to end up with other assets. This is just money to live on.
Right.
50 grand. And, I don't think anybody can say, like you said, the emotional support that your spouse provides. But Robert De Niro's not getting movie films and other things because of his wife.
Right.
So there's got to be folks at home. If you have a different opinion, email us, jaminsdaily@gmail.com. Go onto our Facebook page, give us a like, share, comment. You can tell us that we're a bunch of gritty old men. Look at these guys talking about, taking the man's side. That's not right. Maybe if we were talking to a lady, she might say, she deserves it all. Maybe she does. But we're going to take our first break, James, and folks at home. Before we do that, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsor, Sage Choice Insurance Agency. You can reach them at 361-400-2411. You can go again to Facebook and give us a like. You can find us on the internet at sagechoiceinsurance.com. Real estate agents, loan originators looking for a good referral source, give us a call. We want to help you out. Need to close those deals. We respond real quickly. 361-400-2411. And we'll be back after the break. When we get back, folks, after the break, we're going to touch up on our guest. James is going to tell us a little bit about what he does. And I'm dying to find out. So we'll find out here in a little bit. Welcome back, folks, from our break. Thanks for joining us at Jamin's Daily, our daily podcast. We're not exactly daily yet, but we're working towards it, folks. So stay with us. But moving along with our guest, James Rivera. James, why don't you tell our folks at home a little bit about yourself, a little quick bio, what it is you do for a living, and take it away.
Sure. Thank you again for having me on your show. James Rivera. I am a realtor with Mirabel Montalvo and Associates. My background actually is in banking, so some of the things I provide is definitely for first-time home buyers, giving them the guidance and education on what to look for in a home, different loan products, things like that. And investors, I've done commercial banking, investments, real estate investments are definitely something I can help with as far as analyzing future, repair values or rental, potential rental income that you can earn on that. So I look forward to, continue working with you, Jamin, and Sage Choice Insurance, and we're going to make a good team.
It's great that you mentioned that, because you're right. It's such a value added that you can provide having that experience in banking, because a lot of the home buying process revolves around getting approved for a mortgage, and other realtors, they may have their own referral source, some mortgage person, so they're working with their client and they just say, well, call this person. And they may not, they just leave it at that. But the good thing working with you would be, you can give them a little bit more advice on that end before they go and talk to somebody. Normally, if they're doing it right, they should have already talked to somebody before they even come to you. But, it's not always the case.
You and I know that's not always the case.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not always the case. But,
Right.
the cool thing too is, like you said, on the investment side,
Mm,
certainly having a banking and looking at, like you said, these opportunities to whether it's a flip or it's a long time rental or it's some kind of commercial property, that's a great source, a great wealth of knowledge that you have already in the banking. Then going, it seems like it would have been, has it been like kind of a smooth transition from banking to real estate?
yeah, absolutely. Especially the fact that, and I said, like on the lending side itself, because banking has various areas that you can kind of go into. But I've been on the lending side and most, recently with the commercial real estate lending. So I know, the ins and outs of what the banks look for, what the guidelines are, what income works, what doesn't work, what extra documentation you may need. Really, I'm your mortgage lender's best friend because
Wow.
if you have, I have a customer who doesn't have a mortgage lender. I'm definitely going to, direct them with the packet in hand of everything that they're going to need so they can make that pre-approval, just that much faster. Um, and I want to, my goal with the education piece of it is to take the worry and just being scared of buying a home, because sometimes it can be a little cumbersome. A lot of information may be overwhelming to the customer, especially if it's their first time. So my goal is to hold their hand, walk them through the entire process, let them know what's normal, what may not be normal, and help guide them through any hiccups that may come, as you know, in real estate. And sometimes there are some hiccups that are unavoidable, but
Yeah, and
help.
in my end too, because so you may have the deal ready, they're approved, you show them property, it looks good, but then comes the insurance,
Mhm,
right? And that can be a whole new, other mixed bag of issues and problems that can arise.
mhm,
And then and the good thing is you know people in insurance, you know who to go to
mhm,
to help you in that regard, Sage Choice Insurance.
absolutely.
But tell me something about, so you make this transition from banking, you're into real estate. It's been a smooth transition, but tell me something that about real estate that perhaps not that you didn't know before, or something that maybe perhaps surprised you, or something that's come to your attention, having, maybe showing property, just having being in real estate now, again, something you didn't kind of realize before.
Sure, sure. I think it's more so the change. The only thing that I think I would like to um, not necessarily get better at, but didn't know how much of it needed is the marketing side of it, especially when you have a homes listing. You want to try to get in front of as many eyes as possible. And right now, there's so many different avenues to do that between social media. I mean, obviously, you have your websites like your Realtor and Zillow.com, mass mailings, things like that. There's a lot that goes on into the marketing side of it, which, I kind of knew of, but didn't know how much is involved in doing all that, creating flyers, having your professional pictures taken and editing them to a way the customer it'll be more appealing on the listings. So that's really kind of only been the thing that's been a little bit of a challenge, but I love accepting those types of challenges.
Yeah, well, I think you're doing well. You're doing something
Thank
right
you.
now. I hope once this podcast is edited and ready, we publish it, that I'm giving you, I hope that you put it on blast on all
Thank
your
you.
social media.
Absolutely.
You know, before we get done here, I want for you to tell the folks at home where they can reach you, Facebook, or your Twitter handle, or your whatever it is, Snapchat
Yeah.
or Instagram, all those different things. You let us know so that they can go out and find you, because yeah, I can totally relate in insurance, and then marketing is important for any business.
Right.
But like you said, in real estate and in insurance, there's just so many customers have so many options. They have so many options, and so the that appearance, that facade of the good photo and the marketing, having the right lighting, so you have great photos, and when you have your listings, making sure the photos of the house look good, and doing all these other things that really have that I guess are part of the business, part of what you do, but it's not part of when actually dealing with the customer and talking to them. The communication part, which is also very crucial and key, it's more of, I hate to say, a little bit more the superficial part, but it's imperative, so important. That's how you get business.
Right.
That's the way of the world. You watch commercials or any marketing that you see, whether they're selling, it's Nike or Coca Cola. There's a way they go about it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
appealing, something that appeals to their eye or to their
Right.
senses. And so, I think you're gonna do well because
Thank you.
looking at you here, you're very photogenic.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're well spoken. So we got to have you on as a reoccurring guest, so
Sure, I'd love to.
you can get it out there. Tell people to follow you. Hey, I'm going to be on Jamin's podcast again, Jamin's
Yeah.
Daily. But make sure you tell your friends to go to my Facebook or
Hmm.
referrals. Somebody who's buying a house, give me a call, and then call Jamin to get a quote.
There you go.
It'll work out. It'll work out.
Slam dunk deal.
Certainly. So speaking of social media, TikTok. Okay. Never used it. I'm not big on social media, but I'm trying to be because now we're doing this
Hmm.
podcast. So I'm taking a learner's course of how to do this more. So TikTok is in a little bit of trouble because Trump wants to ban them because this is a Chinese app. And it's alleged that when you use TikTok, you're basically giving all this information to the Chinese. And so they want to ban it, and they're trying to make them sell their US operations. What's your take? You heard of this?
Yeah, no, I have heard of that. And as a matter of fact, so I have a 10-year-old son who liked TikTok, had the app, made some videos. Innocent kid stuff, obviously. It's just again, it did kind of worry me because of the rumors of what was potentially out there, of the spyware that's supposedly left on, even if you have the app closed. So whoever's managing or running the software could access and hear either where you're at and things of that nature. So we've asked him to take it off of his phone. The
How did that go when you told him, son, no more TikTok?
I mean, he was fine with it. He kind of, whined about it a little bit, but we told him the concerns, and we are very open and honest with our son, and we involve him on a lot of things that are going on, so he doesn't so much feel like we're just picking at him, and so
You
things
giving
like
him
that.
some
We
you give him some reasoning behind this. That's not
absolutely.
like you do what I say. That's it.
Exactly. No, no, no. He's intelligent enough to understand our concerns, and he has a 2-year-old niece, and it was kind of like, well, what happens if your 2-year-old niece had, somebody's able to view him, and he's very protective of her, so he's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. We put him in our place and
Good
helped
idea.
him understand that situation.
It's my kids are real young, so I'm not in that.
Hmm.
I'm in the same boat yet.
Hmm.
But I had a friend of mine who was kind of talking about her daughter, who is I think like 14 years old, let's say,
Hmm. Hmm.
and she was telling me how uh, these kids, so they're going through the phone, right? They should have been, you're supposed to go through the phone, but not everybody has the time or doesn't, right?
Hmm.
But when they finally did, they were, surprised about, how these kids, even at 14, 15 years old, they're already taking all these, duck
Hmm.
face and doing this and doing that, and then getting into, Facebook beefs or Twitter beefs with other
Hmm.
juveniles over the kind of the stuff that we used to do, but it used to have to be in person.
Right.
Like when we were in junior high and there was a rumor or somebody's talking bad about you, it wasn't on Facebook. They were just
Yeah.
spreading rumor, and you had to go and confront them. Now you can
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
on the internet. But what the reason why I brought it up was because you were talking about your son using it. Was that when confronted, the kid told their parent that if I don't do this, then I'm not going to be cool. That all the cool kids do it. like the pressure on them to fit in and be cool. If they're not doing that, they're not the cool kids. They're not in
Right.
the cool club.
Yeah.
Which I feel sad because I feel like I was always in the cool club, you know, and so not being in the cool club,
Yeah.
if my kid told me that, I feel bad, but I'm
Yeah.
not gonna let them do
So
it.
social media in general, not just TikTok, but this, the younger generation right now, I would say even, from 24 on down, they've grown up with, this type of media outlet, constant likes, constant followers, things like that. Everything's for the gram, so to speak. And so there's more pressure for them to have to feel liked, to have to find friends or things like that. It's sad, man. It's very sad because it is, growing up, you kind of, like you said, when you're younger, you want to be in the cool crowd, want to be with that clique that everybody likes. That's part of human nature. Even now people want to, do certain things a certain way because they want to be liked. Now it's multiple outlets and everybody's watching you on all these different avenues, and if you're not doing something, then like you said, you're like not cool. So there's so much more social pressure than it was when we were younger, and it's tough. And being a parent now, it's a whole different world. We can't, let our kids walk down the streets and, by themselves or with a group of friends because there's concern of, child trafficking or, there's just so much different things to worry about now. And yeah, man, these kids growing up, they have it a little tough, man. And you can't do the same things that our parents did when we were younger because it's a whole different world now. Some things may work. You still want to give the basic, hey, you be good, you treat other people right, but certain ways you do that, they have to change now because it's a whole different world now.
Oh, I did not get a cell phone, folks at home, until I was 19 years old. It was
Mm-hmm.
2002. So cell phones were still, they're not like the cell phones now, but people that I knew had cell phones. Some people had cell phones in high school in 2001, 2002, but I never did. And now I'm glad because when I was, junior, senior, I'm 17, 18 years old, I would tell on a Friday night, Saturday night, I tell my parents, oh, I'm going to so-and-so's house. And then I would just leave. And they had no idea if I was going there or not.
Right.
They just had to trust me. It was just trust factor. They had no idea where I was going. They couldn't just call me on a moment's notice to just find out where I'm at or when I'm coming home. And, it turned out all right, and the thing is, if I had an 18-year-old, I couldn't help myself. I would want to give them that freedom that I had, like, okay, go out, be careful. This is where you're going, but I don't expect that you to stay there because you're going to go there and then you might go here. I get that. You don't have to be telling me everywhere you're going. But now, as a parent, I couldn't, I would look on the phone and I would have that app where I could see, oh, they're going over here. You can track them.
Yeah.
You can literally track them now.
Yeah.
And it's good and bad. You can't, I was thinking, you can't be a player. Guys in high school nowadays, they can't be players because you're going to get busted.
Oh yeah. There's
If
too
you
much
have a
cameras
girlfriend and
and
then you
videos
got a
everywhere.
girlfriend at your high school, but then you meet some other girl at some other high school and you try to go to the movies with her. She's going to put it on Facebook. She's going to put it on Instagram. She's going to put all this stuff. And then the other girl's going to find out. See, there's no such thing as being a player nowadays. It's so sad. I feel for them.
I'm sure they're finding out ways.
They're figuring.
We just
I
haven't
guess
figured
maybe
it out. Yeah.
they found a way that I'm not
Yeah.
in tune with. So,
Yeah, exactly.
folks at home, if you're a 18-year-old player senior in high school, and you found a way, you let me know. I'm interested in that. jaminsdaily@gmail.com. Girls too, you can tell me because it goes both ways, certainly. But we're going to end this podcast. We're going to kind of wrap it up. James Rivera with the Maribel Montalvo and Associates, realtor, looking for new clients. They can, if they want to list the property, is that right? What's your number? Tell them, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my cell phone is always in my hands. You can call me or text me at 361-815-6248. If I don't answer immediately, I can always respond within at least 12 to 24 hours, depending on how late you call me. But absolutely, I'm very customer service oriented. Again, from the banks, my experience with the banks has always taught me to respond within, a certain time frame. Just to give you a heads up, I received your information. And with my knowledge, I'm looking forward to, any and all clients, buyers and sellers. Let's get you in a home.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of Jamin's Daily. As we move along, folks at home, this is our third episode and our first guest. So you can take of that what you will, James. You can be proud. Maybe one day when this podcast gets a little bit bigger and a little bit more of a following, you'll always have that badge of honor. You can say, well,
I just hope I didn't set the bar too high.
Right? I'm gonna have to tell the next person that comes on, and be like, listen, you gotta tough shoes to follow here. It's a tough show to. What is it? How do you say that? Tough act. There you go. Exactly. Tough act to follow. Yeah. But you set the bar.
Thank you.
I'll let them know. I'll be like, well, James Rivera was on the last episode. They can be like, oh man, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I
think I might have ruined all of your future attendees.
We're gonna have you on again, definitely here. And to the folks at home, thank you for joining us. Again, we're gonna move on. We hope every episode to improve upon what we're doing, whether it's in the quality of our lighting, our audio, our graphics, and even just in the frequency in which we're able to get these episodes out. So thanks again for joining us, and don't give up on us, because the best is yet to come.